let us know. Do you agree with Jay that tight end is still the biggest area of concern? Or do you agree with me that offensive line is the biggest area of concern? Let us know in the YouTube comments. Hit us up on social media at Locked On Sooners and let us know your thoughts on this. Coming up next, our guy Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On College Football dropped his SEC power rankings for 2025. What? We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The Oklahoma Sooners have been getting some love in the preseason power rankings, quarterback rankings, some All-American love, not enough, but it's fine. Well, our guy Spencer McLaughlin, Locked On College Football, came out with his SEC power rankings and had the Oklahoma Sooners at number 6. Jay, what do you think about what Spencer has to say here? And you're muted.
Of course I am. That's why you're supposed to be like that. It's supposed to always be me, especially when you start coughing. But no, I think that this is very fair. This is a very fair spot to start the Sooners off with. You're going with the conference champion who you're supposed to start with. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care about the attrition of the roster and all that. No, give them their respect. They deserve to be at the top to start. Let them be at the top. So you start with the conference champions. I always have questions about Texas, but they were the runner-up, so go ahead and give them some love. I don't mind that. We know that everyone is very high on the talent that's on the rosters of Alabama and LSU, so it makes sense for them to be in those spots. It's a lot of players that are coming in from their recruiting classes. And then South Carolina, everybody's high on Lenore Silas as he is the quote-unquote media darling. So Oklahoma being at 6, I see, and I'm glad that there's respect there. Me and Spencer actually talked about it on Locked On College Football. You can check out that episode on your next listen. Because my questions have been the ones behind Oklahoma, the Ole Miss and the Floridas, right? Like he the Billy Napier and the Lane Kiffin love or hate that you have there. The Elko at 9, and so many people think that Texas A&M is going to be a sleeper this season. So it was kind of crazy to see them down there. Understood on Tennessee at number 10 because their quarterback situation is their top area of concern because we don't know what the heck's going to happen there.
Facts.
Missouri, that's an area of concern at quarterback as well. We don't know what Bo Prabula is going to look like. We're not sure yet. He hasn't played much. Auburn is interesting at 12, though. He is not very high on them. That to me was like, wow. And the disrespect to Diego Pavia? John, I almost blew my gasket when I saw that. But no, I think the Oklahoma Sooners are in a very fair spot. Brent Venables has to show us that his offense is up to snuff because he did do the thing that he said and we expected him to do when he got here. The defense is actually good.
Yeah, I think this is about right. I could see people putting Florida ahead of Oklahoma because they had a strong finish to last season. You got DJ Lagway in year 2. I could understand putting maybe even a Texas A&M ahead of Oklahoma. They're going to have a really, really strong defense. You get year 2 of Marcel Reed. He has to improve a lot as a passer, but he's a dynamic quarterback, man. He can do a lot of things with his legs that really, really cause problems. But I don't have any problem with anybody being ranked ahead of Oklahoma here because, again, like you mentioned, conference champion, conference runner-up, and then 3 teams that were flirting with the playoff in, Bama, LSU, South Carolina. LSU ended up, 8-4 on the regular season. But South Carolina was right there, man. They were a play or 2 away from making the playoff last year.
They were.
They don't get a block not a block in the back, but a blindside block against LSU on 2 different interceptions, then they might have beaten the Tigers and gone to the playoff, and that would have been crazy. And who knows, man? They were a team that was like trending, so they could have won the whole thing. And I know that might sound crazy for a 3-loss team last year, but South Carolina was absolutely playing their best ball at the right time and could have just gone on an absolute tear. But yeah, that's my only really question is maybe Florida, maybe Texas A&M. But yeah, the rest of it, why would you put anybody else in front of Oklahoma aside from those 5? Because everybody else has got big questions. I understand Oklahoma has to have a big bounce back, and they've got a lot to prove this year, but so does everybody else in the SEC. This is a big turnover year, and that's why I'm so optimistic about what Oklahoma can do, because while everybody talks about the schedule, Oklahoma's schedule is so tough. It's one of the toughest in the nation. It's going to be a grind. It's going to be so hard to manage. How are they going to win 10 games? Blah, 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 blah. But you look at everybody on this list, and aside from Georgia, who else? There's no questions. There's so many questions aside from everybody but Georgia. And the only reason I give Georgia any benefit of the doubt is because of Kirby. That dude's been the most consistent thing in college football since he's gotten to Georgia.
Yeah. Him and Nick Saban are probably the two, and now that Saban's gone in the SEC, we have no sitting coach that has an SEC championship.
Right. And so I look at everybody else on that list, and I'm like, Oklahoma could beat them. Oklahoma could beat them. Oklahoma could beat them. They could beat them. They could beat now. If the offense isn't significantly better this year, Oklahoma could still lose a bunch of games. But I don't think anybody thinks that the offense won't be significantly better.
It would be extremely hard, and it will be Oklahoma purposely doing this. It's going to be a job of throwing the game for Oklahoma to have a offense worse than what they had last year. 100%. No matter how you slice this pie, the Oklahoma Sooners doesn't have a single thing on this roster that will tell you that offense is going to be worse than it was last year, unless they are purposely trying to get somebody fired, a.k.a. Brent Venables. So with that being said, everything else about this team is built to be a lot better in comparison. And you're right. When you look at this, like I said, there's only one sitting coach here that has an SEC championship. And so they're the only one to me that deserves any type of full-fledged respect or even hype, because Kirby's the longest tenured guy that's been there. That's also, like I said, he's got the SEC championship and he's got all that behind him. So heck, he's got 2 natties as well to go with it. Yeah. So until I see someone else take the reins from them, it's always got to be Georgia number 1. That's the team that needs to be number 1 at all times. Yeah, the king got to stay the king. If you want to come for the king, come for the crown, you got to take him. Got to take him down. Mm-hmm. That's it. Point blank. Period. So, but no. Is
there anybody on that list that you think should be significantly higher?
To be honest, the only one I considered really is A&M a little bit, but I don't really have an argument fully I can hear an argument for A&M to be better, but I don't have an argument, honestly, for anyone on here outside of Vanderbilt probably getting a little bit more respect because they beat Auburn last year. Did they? No, they didn't beat Auburn last year. They lost that game, didn't they? Can't remember.
No, they beat both Alabama and Auburn too.
Perfect. Then Vanderbilt should be above them. There you go. I was trying to remember. It was another game that they didn't win that I thought they won. But anyway, Vanderbilt should be ahead of them. That's really it. There's nothing significant because there's a lot of change in the SEC this year. Yeah. A lot of replacements at positions that I'm just like, I got to wait and see.
Of those top 4, does that look about right to you?
I think LSU should probably be above Alabama, but
that's what I think too.
That's probably it, just because they come in with the incumbent quarterback. Now, granted, LSU's offensive line is not going to be like it was last season, so you've got questions there that you want to make sure actually goes down. But a slightly worse offensive line at LSU should not affect Garrett Nussmeier much because he does a really good job of getting rid of the ball. And that, to me, is probably where the focus is going to be for them. And their wide receiver room is always ridiculous. I don't care who lines up. They find a way to get dudes out of the state that just are absurd athletes and talented. So that's not something I'm worried. Running back room is fine. They'll be fine there. They're always fine there. They're always fine at wide receiver. They're always fine at DB. They're always fine in the secondary. For them, their defensive line is very young, and so we got to see if it's developed, if it's ready to really shine. This may be the year you see breakouts from some of those young players, but LSU, to me, is still the team to beat outside of Georgia, mainly because of that incumbent quarterback.
Yeah, the only thing you can bank on are death and taxes and LSU wide receivers.
Yeah, they're always really good. And DBs, because they are really DB.
They're always really good, so... hey, go check out Spencer McLaughlin on Locked On College Football. Does a great job breaking down the entire sport, not just the big, conferences, not just the big teams. He's doing Mountain West. He'll do Pac-12 realignment, all of it. So make sure you go check it out. Locked On College Football, wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up next, Congress is, man, they're trying to get involved in college football once again. Some of it might be some good ideas, some not so good. We'll discuss all that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.